LSD, that is Liquid Staking Derivative Network. We built this in order to bring down the capital barrier for anyone to stake a validator. So as of now, Ethereum requires 32 ethers to set up a validator. But what we are trying to do here is we we help anyone to pool in their ethers, as many they have, and bring it together, and then this pool of users can put up a validator by combining all the ethers. So say that Alice had 20 ethers, Bob had 5 ethers, another someone else, Kate or someone else, have little amounts of ethers. They come together, they use the LSD network, and then they will pool in such that the capital reaches 32 ethers. And once it reaches 32 ether, then it will be sent to the Ethereum deposit contract, and the validator starts running and starts earning reward. So let's introduce you with the LSD.
Wait. What is the why this is different from liquid staking currently? Can I stake with like any amount with LSD network? What does LSD stands for? You said liquid staking derivative, like how?
Yes, you can stake with as less as 0.001 ethers, and there's no max boundary. So for a single validator that you're trying to put, the max, the least amount will be 0.001 ethers, and the max can be will depend upon the risk upon your risk appetite. So basically, it can be 24 ethers, it can be 4 ethers, either way.
Right.
And
right. So this will allow me to stake any amount for Ethereum staking. And is my tokens are staked on Ethereum, or is it kept somewhere else and then there's another staking inventory? I think you're going to explain this to show us in the next. I can see all these diagrams going, all this kind of stuff. All right, cool. Thank you.
Right. Since I introduced the risk appetite here, so let's move into how this risk appetite works in the LSD. In a single LSD network, that is represented by this big square box, we have 3 types of pools. One being the fees and MEV pool, the other being protected deposits, and the third being the node runner. So first, let's discuss about the protected deposits pool. So
well, these are split up. Oh, why the split? Why have we got 3 pool strategy? Is it special to liquid staking networks, or is there a reason? Is there another protocol that LSD uses to do the staking with Ethereum, or does it stake directly with the Ethereum deposit contract? Because you said the ETH goes to the deposit contract. How does it do that?
Okay.
And what is the tokenomics there, right? Before coming here.
Okay. So LSD uses a Stakehouse protocol underneath. So most of the tokenomics or the actions that take place underlie in the Stakehouse protocol. And when the user comes in, interacts with the LSD takes help of the Stakehouse protocol, which does all the work for it, and then a Stakehouse protocol will send the 32 ethers to the deposit contract. So LSD is built on top of Stakehouse protocol to answer it.
Okay, so what tokens will Stakehouse give me, or do I get any Stakehouse tokens? Like,
who is Stakehouse? Is it a DAO? Is it what it is? Stakehouse.
Vince, you want to tell?
Yeah, I'm happy to. Yeah, so the Stakehouse protocol is a protocol connecting the Ethereum consensus layer with the Ethereum execution layer, and making the the staked position of a validator available as a dead position on Ethereum via a token that allows you to, that represents the value of the staked asset on the consensus layer. Now, what's different about this asset versus other assets minted from consensus layer validators is that if you were to burn your the assets minted by the Stakehouse protocol, the debt position, you can always claw back your consensus layer position. So the Stakehouse protocol abandons oracles, bridges, pegs, everything, because you can redeem the asset on a consensus layer at a smart contract level. So you can ask a smart contract, hey, I no longer want these assets, I can go and claw them back. So you have direct redeemability on those assets, true, liquid staking derivatives. And the liquid staking network here, the LSD network is repackaging them. So in a nutshell, the 32 ETH that's going into the deposit contract gets split into two tokens. You have a 24 DETH and an 8 slot. So you still have your 32 units there, but they're coming as two tokens, and they serve different purposes that, Manul can expand upon in a bit. But the 24 DETH that is initially minted for every validator, because every validator has an induction balance of 32 ETH. So you get the 24 of that comes as the DETH. That is a /free asset.
So wait. It's it's a lot to digest for me. So if I understood correctly, you have a Stakehouse protocol. That's a different protocol, right? That's a base protocol. It is. I assume this is a smart contract suite, right? That's what you're saying.
Yes.
And anyone can go and take a validator they have, and they can go to the Stakehouse protocol, and it will mint tokens against that validator balance on consensus layer. So they're restaking the 32 ETH back to execution layer, and they will mint ERC20 tokens against the total ETH balance on the consensus layer as a debt position.
They'll mint fungible tokens.
Right. Yeah. So now you have your staked asset liquid in this way. Now, let me be also very how this is if you have a debt position, and this is actually in a different different chain. If I want to get my validator stake, do I need to burn this ERC20 tokens that minted or withdrawn against the validator stake? Then only I can go and withdraw my balance from consensus layer. I mean, whenever the withdrawal is enabled.
Yes, absolutely, yes. So initially you deposited ETH into the deposit contract, and you were able to mint tokens from that debt position. And then if you want to go in reverse, you need to undo the mint operation. So you need to burn your debt position in order to claw back the
do you have any documentation or anything showing this flow, which is actually happening?
Yeah, I believe, yeah. So Manul, if you can, you're sharing the screen. If you can go on to the, docs.joinstakehouse.com.
Oh, this is Stakehouse. So, okay, wait a minute. It says that generate the keys. So Stakehouse actually allow user to put the money and allow them to stake with Ethereum, via Ethereum deposit contract. So I'm staking, right? I'm putting money, I'm sending money to Ethereum deposit contract, and it just reached in the consensus layer. And after a day or two, I come back and I will balance report, I will verify my validator, and then I will mint the tokens. Oh, so anyone can do this, or do I need to go to a DAO or anyone to have permission for this?
No, you don't. No, you can just, as long as you can access an Ethereum node, an Ethereum consensus layer node, you can fetch data from an Ethereum node and say, and show the contract, hey, look, my validator is activated. So it's a self-reporting mechanism. There is no third-party reliance here on the minting of your own asset. There is no liquidity required or any of that nature. It is your asset, and it is your right to mint the debt position on the execution layer from that consensus layer assets on a smart contract level. So you redelegate to a smart contract to do the minting for you, and the smart contract will give you the asset.
So this is kind of a delegation mechanism on top of Ethereum, but it is managed by completely smart contracts. Now you can start building your own liquid staking business using this protocol and pool, capital from outside and send at the beginning point of 32, right? So you can give a tokens back, and that's what the LSD network does.
Well, one thing that I've come across with different developers is, when they have been asking myself or Manor, anyone questions about the Stakehouse protocol, one thing that I think makes things a bit more straightforward to process is there's the life cycle status of every validator. So right. What you said is possible. Like you said, you can utilize those assets, but you have different phases. You have ETH will get sent to deposit contract, then there's a waiting period for it to be activated, etc. So, but at a smart contract level, a smart contract tracks the life cycle of a BLS key, which allows you to make decisions based on that key.
So it's kind of an LP pool. I will send, someone send the tokens to LSD network. He can get what is the active status of that tokens and how much it's earning, all from this kind of a circuit board sitting, below it, that's called Stakehouse protocol. You just go there and everything is recorded in the contract. All right, cool.
The key is the Stakehouse is just there doing inventory management. It doesn't do anything special. It just is an inventory management of a consensus layer asset. LSD is built on top to utilize that the yield, the consensus yield from a DETH, and it will also expose the network revenue from the EIP 1559, the MEV boost, all that stuff. It re-exposes that from the Stakehouse inventory, and anybody can do this. Anyone can build the same thing on or other protocols, money markets, anything else on top of the Stakehouse protocol. LSD is just one application built on top of the base layer Stakehouse.
Cool. All right. Thank you. Let's go to LSD. Thank you.
Right. Okay. So as Vince mentioned that Stakehouse protocol does all of these journeys for a validator, and basically Stakehouse protocol needs 32 ethers to stake the validator. So LSD that is built on top of Stakehouse brings down the capital barrier and then pools in the 32 ETH, sends it way to the Stakehouse protocol, and then Stakehouse in turn manages all the validators and then sends it to the deposit contract. Okay. Coming back to the topic of pools that we were discussing.
Is that atomic? Is that atomic? Does the Stakehouse keep the money, or is it sent straight away to the deposit contract?
Okay, it sends straight to the deposit contract. Or the only thing that happens here is when it goes via the Stakehouse protocol just registers who the validators are, what their BLS public key is, what their Ethereum address that deposited this BLS public key is, and that's all. It doesn't keep any of the ethers, sends it straight to the Ethereum deposit contract. So in this
just way, the membership registry, right?
Correct. That's the right term. Membership. Yes. Fine. So
thanks.
Okay. Coming back to the pools, we had fees and MEF pool, protected deposit pool, and the node runner. So protected deposits pool. So as previously mentioned by Vince, a user, a validator gets back 24 DETH and 8 slot tokens. So DETH are slash free, whereas the slot tokens bear the slashing and leaking any of those risks. So anyone like me who has a low risk appetite, they can directly go to the protected deposits pool. This means that when you put in your ethers, you will get back protected deposit LP token. And when your validator is activated and starts minting, then when you redeem your LP tokens from this protected deposits, you'll get back the ETH. And this for a validator, for a single validator, the max limit is 24 ethers in the protected deposits pool. Now that the 24 has been sent to the protected deposit, we still need 8 ethers. So those 8 4 come from the fees and MEV, and the other 4 is deposited by the node runner. So fees and MEV pool and the node runner both claim the slot tokens and any of the network rewards that they earn. So these bear the risk. The slot token is not slash free, and hence any slashing or leaking will incur in these LP tokens. So for a user who is depositing into the fees and MEV pool, will have the max barrier of 4 ethers per validator. If you have 20, 32 ethers, then you will be able to spread it across multiple validators, but the limit for a single validator is 4 ethers, and the minimum is 0.01 ethers, same as the protected deposits pool. And
So I can, if I have, I mean, I wish, if I have 500 ETH, right? So I can set up multiple, well, I can fund multiple validators in a liquid staking network and have joint ownership with other people pooling their ETH. But you're saying that at a per BLS public key level, like which is identifies a validator, there is, as part of the 3 pool strategy, there is just staking limits, right? So 24 comes from projected staking, 4 comes from fees and MEV or the staking funds vaults, and then 4 from the node operator. So in aggregate, that meets the requirement from the Ethereum Foundation that you must deposit 32 ETH into the deposit contract to activate, right? Because before that, you cannot activate. You can deposit 31 ETH to a BLS public key, but you will not be able to activate that validator, right? So the LSD says, so the LSD basically is like these 3 buckets, right? That collect ETH per validator.
So you're saying that like the trigger of the deposit from the LSD network happens only with the full balance required for a validator.
Yes.
Okay. So it will not send that balances, right? So okay, makes sense. So you're routing all these deposits deposited by the user, the contracts. When I say you, the contract is routing like 10 ETH from one place, another 4 ETH from another place. It just fund anyone. Like, who is doing this? Who is triggering this deposit?
Right. I'd like to discuss few more things, but that will come later. Okay. So triggering is done by the node runner, because in the end, node runner is the one who runs the node and takes most of the risk. So they take care of they take care of the BLS public key, the validator that they are running. And so they will be on a lookout and see if the pools are full of ethers enough for their validator to be staked. And as soon as they get to know that, yes, the other pools have 4 ETH and 24 ETH.
Wait,
what
I
if
can
you run away
run a
with
validator for
the money?
Sorry?
What if the node runner run away with money?
Oh.
He's looking at like how.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, it cannot. So basically, the node runner has the validator, but from the diagram you can make out that the central point is the liquid staking manager, and between the node runner and the liquid staking manager comes the smart wallets. These smart wallets are nothing but they are one-to-one mapping for a node runner. So for every node runner that comes to the LSD network, they have a unique smart wallet, and this smart wallet will contain all the funds for the validator. So if the node runner tries to run away, it cannot, because in the end, the smart wallet is owned by the liquid staking manager, and that is a smart contract. So basically, node runner has no option of running away with the 32 ethers.
Right. So the whole system, now I get it. Like, if I get it, like, I'm not saying I get it. I'm just looking at the screen. The whole thing is like revolving around this guy, Liquid Staking Manager. And there is
Exactly.
a node runner, there is one pool, there's another pool, there's a bunch of things are happening, but everyone has to go to the central command, the Liquid Staking Manager, the smart contract.
Yes, it's the heart of the LSD, of any LSD network. It is.
Any LSD?
Cool.
You mean, what do you mean? Like, can you have 10,000 LSD networks?
Yes, sir, you can. And you can be owner of 10,000, 1,000, any you want. And as
Right.
long
So
as you're
why do you need 10,000 LSD network? Because then, I have this liquid stakings like Rocket Pool, RETH, Lido STE, Stakewise, that the other ETH, like God knows how many others are there. But these all are like different ETH, and it's just getting liquidity fragmented. If you have 10,000 liquid staking networks, would that brings problems? Like, the liquidity is like all these debt position that you talked about, the tokens that is minting, how can be having any useful feature if 10,000 liquid staking networks comes?
Yeah, like do you mean like if is there 10,000 D tokens? Different
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
DEs
yeah.
or
No, because every liquid staking has their own. I cannot use RETH for my STETH because it's just two different tokens. I can trade, but those are not like, I cannot send the same tokens to. I cannot send RETH to Lido or STETH to Rocket Pool and get my ETH back.
right.
so
Having 10,000 is just a number. You can have much more and how many you want.
No.
But
What I want to know is, like, if you have 10,000, then you have 10,000 versions of DETH, right? How do a person who have a DETH can go back and pay back the debt position?
well, DETH is in the end, LSD is on top of Stakehouse protocol. So if you're saying 10,000 LSD networks, then all of them are using the underlying Stakehouse protocol, and that's where the DETH comes from. DETH is single and unique. So if there are 10,000 LSD networks, then a user can just put in the ETH, get back the rewards in terms of DETH, use it somewhere else, and get it from any of the LSD networks in how many he has
So
joined and all.
you're saying all the liquid tokens from 10,000 LSD networks are fungible? Is it fungible? Like, I get half of DETH from LSD network 7,000, another half from 700, another quarter from one, another 0.2 from another. Like, I have like 10,000 DETH, but it's came from 10,000 liquid staking. Can I just simply send this DETH to trade, and then another protocol, DeFi protocol, can just take it? Just a DETH is DETH, or
Right, definitely.
do they need to care about which LSD network it came from?
Not at all. It's all single DETH. It's fungible. You can use it anywhere throughout the protocol, throughout the LSD network, throughout any other DeFi protocol. It's all the same.
So are you saying that if there is 10,000 LSD networks, some of them are big, some of them are small, some of them are tiny, but if the big guy have, like, a huge amount of liquidity there, the small guy can also go and provide the liquidity, the same tokens, the persons who are participating in the small liquid staking network can enjoy that, the liquidity?
Sure. I mean, it depends upon what you want from the liquid staking network. So if there's a big whale trying to run a single LSD network, but it tries to control it their way, and you don't like the terms, you go ahead, deploy your own LSD network, or find a one that suits your requirements and go and join there. In the end, you'll be getting DETH, right?
I'm a bit confused.
basically,
So can I send my DETH to any other DETH pool or not? Or smart contracts, DeFi protocol need to whitelist every LSD network DETH? Or, as long as I understood, you said like all the DETH are fungible, it's coming from a single contract address. And this is what the fungibility means in Ethereum. You have a USDC, you have USDT. The issue is the contract address. If you go to Etherscan, there's a one contract address minting those tokens. Is that correct here in DETH? You have one contract token that is the base issuer?
Yes, it is. And that is the
Okay.
Stakehouse protocol.
Okay. So it is fungible. So anyone can trade against any other ETH.
Yes.
Okay, cool. Thank you. All right. That answer.
I was intrigued. You said something, if I don't like the terms of a liquid staking network, I can create my own. So there are, different ones available, like Matt said, Rocket, Stakewise, like they all have a percentage commission, right? So
Yeah.
let's say I want to launch one with a 5% commission. Can I configure that myself? Like, what is the commission on? Is it on ETH or is it on something else? Is it on like?
Right. Okay. So yes, you can choose any percentage of commission you want from your LSD network. So you, as the owner of the LSD network, so the owner is the one who deployed it. So he'll be having the rights for that LSD network. So you will be able to choose how much commission you want, and this commission will be coming from the node runners' earnings.
Right. Yeah. Well, yes, a percentage of the revenue that the liquid staking network makes, and the node runner will know this ahead of time, so they'll know basically because it's a smart contract. Everybody knows the terms of service. From a contract point of view, you can query, the different networks, and you can choose which one's catering to your need, but I can really see how it reduces the capital requirement. So if I get this right, hang on. So I can run a validator for 4 ETH if I get this right.
Yes, sure you can.
Not 32. So that means I can run a lot more validators if I had 32 ETH. Instead of running one, I can run, right?
Yep. And good thing about it is that you are just running a validator for 4 ETH. So 32 means 8 validators, and you will be managing all of them. You know that they are performing well. So if you join a single LSD network with all these 8 or whatever number of validators are, then others can come in, and you sort of can, let's say you've got your friends and family that know that you are able to run a validator successfully, and they know, yes, there won't be anything going wrong. If wrong, then they'll be able to help you with whatever needed. So they can come in as well, pool in their ethers, and then happy day for everyone.
Can we see some of the code that you're talking about, the liquid staking manager and the node networks, like because then there's a lot of sense. I'm staring at this like for some time.
Yeah. Let's go into liquid staking, and oh, I'm in the specs, sorry. Contracts, liquid staking, and then
Is this on a GitHub or somewhere? Where should I go to get this code base?
well, you can get it on Stakehouse Dev GitHub repo.
Okay.
I should go to the arena. Yes.
Okay. All right. So all the contracts are here.
Yes.
Okay.
Cool. So these are all these smart contracts that work together towards a successful LSD network. And here you can see it's the liquid staking manager, the heart of a liquid staking network. And LSD and factory smart contract can be used to deploy it's a factory. So it basically you are deploying the LSD network.
Can you open it so we can see it, Okay. All right. Yeah, it is a factory. I can see LP tokens and smart wallets. So wait a minute. So you're saying this factory is deploying a vault for all the ETH receiving? Is this something related to 4626 vault or?
Sorry, what do you mean by ETH receiving?
So you have a Save ETH vault. What is a vault?
Save ETH vault is the protected staking pool.
Okay, but it's a pool. Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so let's run through it. So this is the LSTN factory, and it's a single smart contract. And in the constructor, we've got deployers, all sorts of deployers and factories that will in turn be deploying the necessary smart contracts. So it's not that the protected staking pool or the fees in MEF pool all come at once, but the idea is that first the liquid staking manager is deployed, then the liquid staking manager once it is set up, it deploys the other necessary smart contracts. So it deploys the other two pools that is needed. So in this way, the liquid staking manager gets to know what are the pools it is associated with. So a single LSD network will have a single liquid staking manager, a single uh, syndicate contract, a single fees and MEV, and a single protected staking pool. So for if there are tens of LSD networks, then each one of them will have their own pools and syndicates and whatnot. So
How much money I need to set this up? Like, do I need to put some validator or something? What is the initial cost to set up a LSD network?
right. This needs nothing more than the gas fees required for a transaction. So all you need to do is go to this function, deploy new liquid staking network derivative network, and then whatever the transaction cost is will be the setup fees for you. So as soon as you provide those gas fees and all, and your transaction goes successful, you will be having.
How do you deploy it? How do you deploy? You say address, DAO, everything. Like, do I need a specific? Who can deploy this?
Right. We are
I'm a staking business. I'm a staking business. I don't know much about smart contracts. I'm not a smart contract engineer, but but we want to set up our liquid staking network. How do I deploy this?
Okay, so we have used the term DAO, but the thing is, the address here is nothing more than an Ethereum address. It can be an Ethereum address. Doesn't have to be a DAO, but if you are a DAO, then most welcome. You can be a single user with just an, as I said, you want to deploy an LSD network which suits your needs. So it doesn't have to be a group of people. You can do it all alone. So address DAO here is the Ethereum address that has the rights to the ownership of the liquid staking network. So if I were to deploy one, I'll give my address here. Then we've got optional commission. Obviously,
So
it
you
saves.
can you can deploy it on behalf of somebody else, right? So there's, I guess you're saying you can supply your own address, but it sounds like you can supply, like basically, if Gnosis wants me to deploy a liquid staking network from them, I just ask them, hey, who's going to own and manage the network, right? Who's going to be the caretaker? They will give me an address and I can do it for them. Or can they use a Gnosis safe? Can they use a compound governor contract, an open Zeppelin contract? What are the restrictions here?
Right.
Sure.
A user can deploy it on behalf of someone else or anyone else. Big companies or DAOs or Gnosis, as you said, they'll have someone to deploy it. So they'll use another Ethereum address to deploy it, but the ownership will be with someone else. And sorry, I forgot your next question was.
No, can a DAO deploy this? Like how does a DAO do it?
Matt?
No, I'm thinking because I'm not like, for me it just tells like how do I deploy a pool, how do I create a pool in Uniswap. I can go and create a pool. If I'm wrong, correct me, guys. Anyone can create a pool, right? USD ETH or USDC ETH or whatever it is, right? Yeah. But I will deploy. Then I'm the pool creator, and the pool comes with an address, right? It creates a smart contract pool. Anyone can send money into that pool. That doesn't mean that I can take that money, LPs, to money from the Uniswap pool, right? It's protected. The LP tokens gives the right for the liquidity providers to burn the LP tokens and get back their money. Is it similar approach here? Is it similar approach? Like otherwise, like I'm creating LSD network, but yeah, I have a ticker. Like I have a pool name, I have a ticker name. Great. But people who are sending money to this LSD network, it's their money, right?
Yeah.
I as a creator of LSD network has no, I assume, no way to touch those money.
Right. No, not even the
No,
DAOs
I
control.
can.
No one, I mean, the money that is staked via the liquid staking manager, that is pooled in via the liquid staking manager, has one and only one purpose throughout this journey, and that is to stake a validator. It
Right.
doesn't
So
have to go in someone else's hand.
to confirm it, the person or the EOA address or the smart contract address, let it be a DAO address or Gnosis multi-sig, anyone can set up their liquid staking. It's just a setting up a liquid staking network and letting people, hey, we start a liquid staking network. This is the name and this is the address. You can send money here, and then whenever it is like 32E, the liquid staking manager will help to find a node runner for you and then stake it automatically and get back your ETH. Is that what's magic happening, or
Yeah,
is someone
yes,
is involved in all this thing, or it's just a smart
right.
contract?
You
I
perfectly
don't.
summed up how the magic happens, but I'd like to add one thing, that please don't directly send your ETH to any address here. You have to
Okay.
interact with the smart contract to get back your LP tokens. LP tokens are
Right.
the proof of liquidity, which means that it's a proof that you deposited your ETH. If you just transfer your ETH to a smart contract address, that's not going to help. You have lost it. Neither are
Yeah.
the
So
exactly.
in Uniswap, you go to Uniswap, you get all the pools deployed by the Uniswap factory, right? There's a
Yes.
base factory, and you get all the list of the pools, and you get those what the pools are actually accepting the tokens, the pairs. So you can just call the factory, and then I can get all the list. It's in the Ethereum node. I can just call it graph protocol or anything, or just query from a Infura, and then I will get all the list of the legitimate LSD network addresses that
Yes.
deployed by this factory. Okay, great. Thank you.
Yeah,
That
but the
explains a lot.
deployer can't steal the money, right? Only the one that has the LP tokens can, withdraw the ETH.
Yeah, it's just a representative of those pools. Like he created, that's it.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. DAO was the Ethereum address. Optional commission, as its name suggests, it's optional. It can be, if you're not setting it, it is zero. But if you are a organization, you are a DAO, and you want some commissions, you put up the amount of commission that you want. Then there's this optional house gatekeeper. This is what I was referring to when I said that uh, a DAO or any group who want to have a close-knit community of the node runners, they can have this. So house gatekeeping does, what it does is, it will only allow a certain group of node runners that it wants. So if I am a company and I'm running a group of validators, then I'll set this to true, and that will mean that only the node runners, node operators that I recognize will be able to join my LSD network, and no one else can. So that's the gatekeeping for you. And next is the Stakehouse sticker. So Stakehouse protocol works underneath LSD network, and whenever a liquid staking network is deployed, it is associated with a unique Stakehouse sticker. Ticker is just the name of the Stakehouse, and that will mean that all your validators belong to this group, and definitely to your liquid staking network. Right. Then we have this liquid staking manager, which was the heart of the contract. But before even diving into liquid staking manager, I'd like to introduce the giant pools here, the idea of giant pools in the liquid staking network. So coming back to this diagram, you can see there are these two giant pools. One is the giant fees and MEV, the other is giant protected staking pool. What are these giant pools? Okay, so until now, I understood that for a liquid staking network, I interact with the protected deposit and the protected fees and MEV and all. But let's say that I, as a user, don't have any idea of this. and don't even want to know anything about it. All I care about is I have some ETH to spare and I want them to start earning rewards. What should I do? So the answer is go and interact with the giant pools. This year is the giant fees and MEV, and this year is the giant protected staking pool. Alice comes in, she deposits her ethers and gets back the LP token. Please note, gets back the LP tokens because that's the proof of liquidity. So as soon as she deposits and get back the LP token, these ethers will be sitting idly in this giant pool. So, okay, we had deployed 10,000 LSD networks. And you can think, you might come up with the question that what if my liquid staking network doesn't have enough capital? What's the point of me running a liquid staking network if there's no ETH flowing in? How will I be able to run a node running? So that's where the giant pools come in. So the protected deposit and fees and MEV were unique to a single liquid staking network, but the giant pools, they are one and only, and they have the ability to fund all the liquid staking networks that are deployed via the LSTN factory. So these giant pools collect ETH from users, and then when a node runner from any of the liquid staking network is in need of money, they can go to this giant pool and ask for funds. This giant pool will then verify that the node runner has provided correct addresses, correct pool address, correct liquid staking manager, correct PLS public keys and all. And once that is all true, then it will send the ETH from a list of say 10,000 LSD networks into that single LSD network in which the node runner is running has registered his PLS public key. So that this will mean that ETH transfers from the giant pool to that particular protected staking. So same can be the case with the giant fees and MEV. So just to put it here, the giant protected staking pool will only send ETH to the individual protected deposits pool, and the giant fees and MEV pool will only contribute to the individual fees and MEV pool. There can be no cross transfer of ETH from the giant fees and MEVs to the protected deposit or vice versa. So,
but basically, like if I'm like a big whale, I could just, if I want to fire and forget, right, I can just throw a lot of ETH into the giant pools, and then node runners that need it for staking because they're only supplying 4 ETH, right, to set up a validator. They can just they can just source this, right, and so everybody wins. So the less technical people who want to throw the ETH into the giant pool just put it in there.
right.
A node runner is more technical. They say, okay, I can grab it from this place, that place, as long as they've used a liquid staking network deployed by the official factory. A bit like Uniswap will only recognize the liquidity pools deployed from its own factory, right? So yeah.
Right. So consider a scenario where a whale has 1,000 ethers and it's a whale and all it knows is ether. So it deposits in the giant pool and say that I am not as big of a whale, but I have 100 ethers. I mean, I wish, but let's assume. So I have 100 ethers and I have the technicality of running a node runner. Then what I'll do is I'll join a liquid staking network or even create my own one and then start running nodes for 4 ethers. So I had 100 ethers. I am now registering 25 PLS public keys which need funds. And the whale being a whale deposited 1,000 ethers to each of the giant pool. So what I can just do is pool in all those ethers. I have just put 4 ethers for a single validator. I got the rest from each of the whales, and then I start running the validator. It's as simple as that.
Got it.
Oh,
Got it. Thanks.
yeah. Okay.
So can we? Oh, okay. Oh, so what's the syndicate? Yeah, maybe you
right.
can show some code. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Now,
I would always want to see the code when you talk about a special section in the diagram and you show the diagram and show the code. It basically gives a lot of visibility how actually this thing actually work. And when you talk and I can see the code, like, yeah, I get myself very comfortable with that. I mean, I don't know
Okay.
about other people in the call, but I'm just a thought, food for thought, right?
Right.
Yeah. This liquid staking manager seems really useful. Like, I think like that's the beating heart I need to understand.
Yes, sure. This here is so I said we introduced the Stakehouse ticker, the syndicate, and the DAO. So this is unique to each of the liquid staking network, and that's what we can see here. These are the addresses. Then we have the gatekeeping, the syndicate factory address. So this will mean that this will be used to deploy a syndicate for this particular LSD network. Then we've got smart wallet factory, which will be deploying the smart wallets for each of the unique node runners. Okay, uh, right.
So if
So,
I do gatekeep my LSD network I deployed, I
mhm,
can plug in any logic. Like I can say, oh, if you have such and such tokens from certain DAOs, because we want to keep it cool, like, we want to be like more of NFTs or any specific ones that will help because it's staking collective.
yeah,
Can I token gate it, like, and then people can just verify the tokens with collab land bot or something like that? Just can simply verify balance of a particular. The LSD network only apply nodes, node operator. I think it's only for the node operator, right? Just like sending money or something. Only those people who recognize themselves verified by either having a position of a tokens, or if I'm a boring business guy, either you went through the KYC or whatever it is they want to. So people can avoid it or people can join it either way, right? So KYC thing they can avoid it. It's like, I don't want to give up my details. But the other way is like, oh, we are all cool. We're going with the same community. There's a new proposal. So let's go and put our ETH into where our voice matters.
right. That's gatekeeping for you.
Okay.
LSD provides gatekeeping, and on top of it, you can, as you just mentioned, you can put up any logic, any conditions that you want, and restrict it to the people that you want, and they'll be able
And
to
that
use it.
and that logic is the gatekeeping. If I want to write a logic, I just use the gatekeeping mechanism and inject it. But if I don't
Right.
want it, it's open. By default, it's open, right? Anyone can join.
Yeah. By default, anyone can join.
Yeah, it's kind of a permission pool kind of a concept, but yeah, who wants it? Everyone wants ETH, right?
Yeah.
ETH is permission.
Right. So coming back to the journey, and how does the journey even start? So the journey starts with a single BLS public key, and the BLS public key being introduced to a liquid staking network. So here's the function, that is register BLS public keys. This allows any node operator to register as many BLS public keys as he wants to this liquid staking manager. So basically, you can see this is an array, which means you can provide a list of BLS public key at once, and the associated BLS signature. You can appoint an Ethereum account as a representative for you, which will do the other tasks which are needed for a validator from the Stakehouse protocol. So basically, the idea here is, if you can see here at line 434, the ethers that you provide should be a multiple of 4. That means the number of BLS public keys you provide, each one should be each one should have 4 ethers uh, along with it. So if you're providing 10 BLS public keys to register, you'll have to provide 40 ethers, and these 4 ethers will be associated with that BLS public key, and then you'll be able to pull in other 28 ethers from the pools and start your journey. So yes, so here first we see whether the smart wallet, you already are an existing node runner or not. If you are, then we find that smart wallet for you and then put these BLS public keys into that smart wallet. If not, then we go to the then the liquid staking manager goes to the smart wallet factory and asks it to create one. And once created, the liquid staking manager registers this. So it just registers your Ethereum address with the smart wallet address. And yeah, so okay. So here we can see the 4 ethers that you transferred, the multiple of 4 ethers that you transferred along with this transaction will then be sent to the smart wallet. So smart wallet is owns all these BLS public keys and owns all the 4 multiples of 4 ethers that you provided, and you can later withdraw them if you want.
So I can do I get okay. So what I think we can do is then, as a node runner, you can set up multiple keys in a single transaction. So you know, Ethereum deposit contract will only let you do like one at a time, but LSD allows you to do things in batches, right? So you can do, you know, 10, 20 keys, you know, and that's not a problem, right? I see it's flexible enough to allow that.
Yep, you're right. Yeah. One thing is the life cycle status. This is basically used by the underlying Stakehouse protocol. So we make sure here that the BLS public key that you are introducing to the liquid staking network is not already used somewhere else throughout the Ethereum, right? So it has to be a new BLS public key that you're adding to this network, because that is when it will pool in the ETH and then stake the 32 ethers. If you've already participated in the staking process, then this BLS public cannot be used. Okay. Yes, so this was how you register. Let's also look into if you can withdraw your ETH as a node runner or not. So here is the function, withdraw ETH for node, and the recipient address is the Ethereum address where you want to receive the ETH for that BLS public key, and BLS public key of not is the BLS public key for which you want to withdraw your ethers. So mind you that if you are withdrawing ethers for a BLS public key, so you will get back those 4 ethers, but you won't be able to use your BLS public key anywhere in the liquid staking manager again. This makes sure that this is necessary because the LP tokens that will be issued, then the users will able to know that the not has withdrawn, not that that means the validator. Validator has withdrawn the BLS public key from the staking process. So the users will be able to rotate their LP tokens to a new one or wherever they want to. So this means there's no hassle of, I mean, it won't create confusions later on. Right. I think we had something in the register BLS public keys, and that was register validator initials. So when you transfer your when you register your BLS public keys, this here creates a transaction that is register validator initials to the Stakehouse protocol. So Stakehouse protocol needs to know what are the BLS public keys that are trying to work on it and trying to stake 32 ethers. So this is a necessary step, and this will mark your BLS public key as validator initialized, and that will mean that now you can go through on with the rest of the process. Right. Oh, stake function. Okay. So this again, the best thing about the contracts here are most of them and almost every function has a batch transaction, which means you don't have to sit and do a single transaction. Rather, everything that you need for that is related to different BLS public keys, you can all do them in a single batch transaction. So similar is the situation with the stake function. A node runner can be on the lookout, and when he sees that either of the pools have enough funds, so the fees and MEV has 4 ethers, the protected staking has 24 ethers and the node runner initially supplied 4 ethers. So collectively there is 32 ethers per validator. Then the node runner can call the stake function, and if it sees there are multiples of 32 present and there are many BLS public keys to be registered, then he can all provide them in a single transaction here, and then the process starts here. Basically, is BLS public key banned? So this takes care that your BLS public key was not withdrawn earlier. So the withdraw ETH for not function, it bans a BLS public key from further taking part in any of the activities in the liquid staking manager. So that's what it checks here. Then it calls for the smart wallet. It sees whether you have your validators initialized or not, and it checks few of the conditions for the validator to stake. So such as you have the necessary 24 each from the protected staking, you have the necessary 4 each from the fees and and all, and then it calls the stake function.
So this is where the ETH flies away
Yeah.
to the deposit contract.
Right. This
via the Stakehouse protocol. Like you said, go on, Manoj, go on.
Yeah, this is the final journey where the 32 ethers are going to send to the Ethereum deposit contract. And yeah, so the this underscore stake is an internal function called by the stake method, and then we have the necessary BLS public key, ciphertext, and AES encryptor key, and all these data are from the deposit data and keystroke files of the validator. And once this is called, we can see that the okay, this is interesting here. So we mentioned how we had a question that what if a node operator runs away with the 32 ethers, but the idea here is he cannot, because as soon as the node operator sees that the other pools have ethers and it needs to stake, before even node operator can see that the smart wallet was credited with 32 ethers, the smart wallet directly sends these, I mean, here it is calling those 24 ethers from the Savage vault, 4 ethers from the staking fund. Sorry, staking funds is nothing but the fees and MEF pool. Savage vault is nothing but the protected deposit. So as soon as it receives, the smart wallet receives these 24 and 4 ethers, it sends away directly to the this register validator is the staking function. So it sends to the Stakehouse protocol and then to the deposit contract directly. So there is no in between time where a node operator can look out for withdrawing the 32 ethers from the smart wallet. Right. And then goes off your 32 ETH and yep, wait for some time until it's activated. That's it. That's
Right.
how, yeah.
So that makes sense. You basically just from the 3 pools, like it's just pooling from the ETH from the individual pools and then straight to the Stakehouse, and then that will put the ETH on the deposit contract and you'll see a transaction. So what about sourcing capital from the giant pools, right? So I think it would be good to go there as well, because I think here we may have a fairly okay starting point. We have a good starting point for where to look into the core, the instance of a liquid staking network. But what about the whales? Where are they going to put their ETH?
I'd rather open it in a new tab. Sorry. Right. So giant Savage vault pool smart contract is the contract that deals with the giant protected staking pool. So here it has a single LP token, a single giant LP token, and it is called the giant ETH LP, or referred as GETH. So any whale that deposits thousands or even a single user that deposits 1 ethers will in return get back GETH tokens. These are the LP tokens, and in a 1:1 ratio, meaning that if you have 1 LP token and there's some ETH sitting in the giant pool, you can redeem your GETH for ETH by a 1:1 ratio. So batch deposit ETH.
you can always get your ETH back, right? Any like if you if the ETH never gets staked, right? Because there is a scenario where I can deposit ETH into a giant pool and it never gets used, right? Not very capital efficient for me, right? But I can withdraw that if it doesn't get used.
Right. You can call it as a small account where you just put in your ETH and later on found out that if I mean I hope you do, but if in case that your ETH didn't get staked, then at least you'll get the same amount that you put in. So no loss.
Cool.
And this here is the batch deposit ETH for staking. That means this is mostly called by the node operators because assume that the ETH has been collected in the giant protected staking pool. But now what? So a node operator from one of the LSD networks comes in, sees that the ETH is sitting here. He will call the batch deposit ETH for staking function. And basically he'll mention what the protected staking pool address for that liquid staking network is, what is the ETH that needs to be sent to the pool, then the BLS public keys that will receive the ethers, and the staking amount per BLS public key that he needs. So this is a batch transaction, and the best thing about this is in a single transaction, you can fund multiple LSD networks and multiple BLS public keys all in a single go. So yes. Yes, idly. So ETH was sitting here idly. So now that the node runner has triggered this transaction, it will be sent as a transaction amount. So your idle ETH decreases from the pool, and then other activities. Here, saving pool dot batch deposit ETH for staking. This is the function where this is the step where ETH is being sent to the individual liquid staking networks protected staking pool to the particular BLS public key and the amount that is needed.
What's the goal here? So I'm putting ETH to get, when am I going to get it back for this one? Why am I putting ETH here?
Yes. So since each of the individual protected staking pool have LP tokens, so you deposited your ETH into the giant pool, you got back your LP tokens. But now that the ETH is moving from the giant pool to an individual protected staking pool, there should be receiving of LP token from that protected staking pool as well. So when the ETH is sent to the particular BLS public key in a protected staking pool, then that protected staking pool will receive ethers, issue the LP token for that individual protected staking pool, and that will be sent to this giant pool. So what this means is, as soon as any of the node runner calls in the ethers from the giant pool will get back LP tokens from each of the individual liquid staking networks protected staking pool, meaning that now your one giant LP token, that is the GETH LP token, is redeemable for any of those individual protected staking pools LP token. And that's how you will be earning rewards later on, because you have to have something to back your LP token for, right? So that's the idea.
Got it.
Okay. This is withdraw ETH function. This basically means that once your ethers are staked and the validator is activated and started minting derivatives, say that after a few times you want to burn your LP tokens and in return get back the profits that you made along with the investment. So you'll get back DETH here. DETH was the underlying asset that was introduced by the Stakehouse protocol, and it is /free. So you have to just tell what are the individual protected staking pool and the LP tokens that you want to claim from, and these tokens will then be burned, and you will get back your DETH for that BLS public key. So that's what this does. And Okay. Should we hop onto a single pool? So say
Yeah, go for it.
protected
Go
staking
for it.
pool.
Yeah. I think that would complete the picture.
Yes. Right. So savitwall.sol is the smart contract, and this manages the individual protected staking pool of an LSD network. Right. Okay. Here is the batch deposit ETH for staking function. This was called by the giant pool, and the ones who really want to go, I mean, the idea behind the giant pool was that you can stake any PLS public key spread across any LSD network. But say that I don't want to do that, and I'd rather interact with a single liquid staking network. So I'd come to this
So
function.
wait a minute. So you call the giant pool is an open liquidity pool for all the liquid LSDs
Yes.
deployed by the LSD network factory. Okay, but you don't really have to. So how does this work? By default, every LSD network give permission to send money from giant pool, or the giant pool is whitelisting those. Which way is it happening?
Right. So giant pool recognizes all the underlying pools. So if it's a giant protected staking pool, then it will recognize the underlying individual protected staking pool only and only if the underlying liquid staking network was deployed from a LSTN factory. So say if you clone this and it's not clone a liquid staking network, but it is not deployed via the liquid staking network factory, then the giant pool won't be able to know about it. So yeah.
Right. So this is the thing that we discussed earlier. How do I recognize is this LSD network is okay? So this basically abstract away that problem. And then you have like the one pool address where people just sending there, and the pool will do this kind of a routing, right? To related LSD network. So okay. So this is basically a spam protection, but it also acts as LSD networks to source enough capital from n number of users. And they don't really need to know the specific address. And so think it like, I'm just providing liquidity to like 100 liquidity pools in 100 token pairs in Uniswap, but I'll only providing my tokens to one pool. Similarly, like I can just forget about thinking which LSD networks, because I'm a protected staker. If I put 1 ETH, I will get 1 ETH staked, and I get whatever the yield earned by the validator on my token as an LP. And this is completely guaranteed by smart contracts. So I don't really have to think about anything. Oh, who is the LSD network? Who's behind it? Just send the money, sit back, and collect my yield. Is that correct?
You are correct. And it is necessary, because if the giant pool doesn't know, is not able to recognize the underlying pool, that is, let's say, if the giant protected staking pool is not able to recognize has no ability to recognize the individual protected staking pool, then that will simply mean that your ETH is being drained. If you deposit in ETH, a node runner from somewhere else.
I wouldn't say it is drained, because so far what I understood is LSD network in a code is open source. So you can basically go and fork that code, and then you can deploy your own version of your own version of the LSD networks. But it won't get liquidity from this pool, because this pool only recognize the factory address, one factory address. Is that correct?
Right. Yes, exactly. And where I was going with the idea of draining was that if consider a scenario where a giant pool doesn't have the idea of the factory address, then that will mean that the ETH in the giant pool can be withdrawn by anyone. So that should not be the case. So that's why it recognizes the factory address, and via the factory address, it recognizes the individual pools that are in the LSD network.
Okay, that's like a detection, right? Cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right. So the batch deposit ETH for staking in the protected staking pool can be used to deposit your LP token. So you have ethers and you know which validator to fund. So that's the reason BLS public key of knots is needed here. It's an array that means you can spread your ETH across different BLS public keys and get back. If say you deposited in 10 BLS public keys, you'll get back 10 LP tokens. That's because each BLS public key is associated with a single LP token. So once you deposit it here,
how do you get a BLS public key on Ethereum? There's no precompile. How do we know?
How do you know about what? Sorry.
How execution layer get BLS key? Because as long as you cannot prove a BLS signature on Ethereum, because there's no precompiled support for the smart contracts.
Yes, we are using the underlying Stakehouse protocol, so that does a lot of heavy lifting for us. I'm not saying that liquid staking network is an easy stuff, but the idea is a lot of its calculation tokenomics are all being handled by the Stakehouse protocol. So if you were to see here, get account manager. So the account manager from the Stakehouse protocol checks for these BLS public keys. So the Stakehouse protocol takes care of all the BLS public keys and the associated Ethereum addresses, and that's where it gets the idea.
So that's the order book. That's the counting layer. So you just call that, and it gives you whatever it is. Is that this LP token has to have a you said not or something like that. There's some kind of an ID, and then it goes there and it will automatically map that into the consensus layer and just say, yeah, I have 20 tokens. You have 20 tokens. Go, go, go. But you always reconcile again the Stakehouse. That's what you're saying, right?
Correct. Correct.
Cool. All right. Cool. Thank you.
Hey, Manu. So, compared to, if I am staking with 32 ETH, right? Here I am staking, let's say with, if I'm depositing here 2 ETH, right? So how am I, like, if I am in control with that, or can I decide to, withdraw or unstake whenever I need, or how is it, how does it work?
Right. Good question here. So the liquid staking network has, it allows any user to withdraw their ethers and withdraw their ethers or quit the network for whatever reason at any point of time as they want. So but there are a few conditions. For example, if you were a node runner and you say that you were in an emergency and wanted those 4 ethers from a BLS public key which you had earlier deposited. So you will be able to get back your 4 ethers. Your BLS public key will be banned, but until only when your BLS public key hasn't been used to stake. Once it is staked, the root changes. You'll have to, if say the validator was staked, so now your 4 ethers are sent, 32 ethers are sent to the deposit contract, and all the ETH has been pooled. There are associated users who had also helped you with running the validator because they pooled in the other 24 and 4 ethers. So there will be a different route. You will be still able to withdraw your ethers, but via a rage quit process, which is an idea introduced by the Stakehouse protocol. And apart from the node runners, if you are a simple staker that is just pooling your that is just depositing ethers, then you got 2 ways. If the ethers that you provided for a particular BLS public key, if that BLS public key hasn't been staked, then you will get back ethers by a 1:1 ratio. So these ETH, if you were interacting with the protected staking pool, then you will burn your LP tokens, get back the equal amount of ethers. But say that your validator is now active and minting derivatives, then that will mean that now if you burn your LP tokens, you'll get back your DETH and not the ethers. So if you have 1 LP token, you'll get at least 1 DETH, and this is because DETH will be, so when I'm saying at least, that's because let's say the validator is performing so-so, not the best, but not the worst. It's just doing its duties, just attesting blocks. Then it will have the minimum rewards that it can get. So that will mean that you have some deeds added with some rewards. So you'll get a little more than one deed if you withdrew, I mean, burn your LP tokens for that.
Oh, okay.
Right. Let's see if we have it here. Okay, not here. I wanted to introduce batch rotating, the idea of rotating your LP tokens. So that
Yeah, that ETH LP pool factory.
Okay. ETH pool LP factory is used by both the pools, that is the fees and MEF pool and the protected staking pool. So they both inherit this contract. So right, there's a batch rotate function, so you'll be able to rotate tokens. But before that, I'd like to introduce the idea of rotation. So here, the idea is if you have deposited some ethers for PLS public key and say that that particular validator has withdrawn, or the other scenario can be that that particular PLS public key is not getting as many ethers funded as another one. So what you can do is, as long as they both haven't been staked, what you can do is transfer your ETH funds from one PLS public key to another. That's what this rotate LP token allows. You put in your old LP token address and your new LP token address. So the new one will be the new LP token to which you want to move your funds to, and the amount of LP tokens that you want to move. So it first checks whether both these old and new LP tokens have an associated PLS public key registered in this liquid staking network, and then they check whether both the LP tokens were initialized in the Stakehouse protocol. So they call the account manager and then check that it has to be validators initialized. So you can see initials registered, and once that is done, we burn the old LP tokens and mint the new LP tokens for you. So both will be an equal amount. So you won't lose any portion of LP token or gain any portion of LP token in between this moment. You'll get as many as you burned, and that's what rotation is for you. Right. Deposit ETH for staking. This is an internal function, but let's see what it does. Business logic for processing staking deposits for single or batch deposits. So this is used by the staking funds vault pool smart contract, or the other that is Savit vault pool smart contract. And it fetches the LP token, checks whether it's not address 0. So deposit ETH for staking means when you deposit your ETH, you should get back LP token. So this scenario can be either you are depositing ETH for a new BLS public key or for an existing BLS public key. So if you are doing it for an existing BLS public key, then this condition will follow, where it will say that yes, it already exists. So all it will do is mint you those amount, and it will check that the max barrier, so max staking amount per validator for protected staking pool will be 24, and for fees and MEF pool will be 4 ethers. So if you are trying to mint, the max cap should not go beyond that. That's what this is check, and if it is correct, then you will be minted with new LP tokens. But in case you were depositing for a new PLS public key, this block happens here. So basically, it will mint a new LP token. So because there didn't exist any, if you are the first taker for a BLS public key, so it will new LP token, it will see whether the transfer hook was enabled or not. Then it will deploy the LP tokens, and then it will mint you the resulting LP token. So yeah, that's it. Vince, is there anything more you want to discuss?
I really want to see that how this is actually getting deployed. Can we do a deployment like it's just simply one, just
Right
LSD
now?
network? Yeah.
Sure.
How long it will take,
Give me a few minutes. Okay. So
Is there any place that we can go and find out how to do this? Like,
yes. So this is basically the LSD Networks docs that you can move on and see. And the idea is for anyone to do it, you can use the LSD Wizard SDK. So this SDK here, it exposes all the necessary and almost all the functions that are used throughout the LSD network factory. So be it giant pools or the individual liquid staking manager, you can just go here. You can install this Blockswap /Wizard SDK and start deploying one. So here, first it needs to be initialized. So it needs a signer. Obviously, you are going to sign a transaction, so signer is needed. We use Ether.js throughout the SDK, so we'd recommend you to use one as well. So let's say that you haven't, you want to deploy a new LSTN, right? So you won't be having any of the liquid staking manager address or save it pool because they don't exist as of now. So these three are optional, but all you need is the signer, and you will have to interact with the deployer subclass. So deployer, once you've initialized your Wizard SDK, just go on to wizard.deployer.deploy new liquid staking network and provide in these values. So DAO address, as we discussed,
can we do this?
Right. Sure.
How does this actually work? Like, I'm just going to deploy an LSD network. I don't have any code base or anything. I'm just opening up my terminal. What should I do?
Right. Okay. I already there's a list of all these tests and functions that I keep playing with. So that's what I'll do. This has already, I have a main function where I've initialized the provider and signer instance. And let's say, I'll just move this away. I have Wizard. Okay, so it says me that I need all these instances, but you can see that majorly signer is needed and others can be null. So what I'll do is I'll just say that signer is signer, and that's it. And this means that my wizard was initialized. Now we can do is deploy a new LSTN. DAO address, fine. It needs a DAO address for me, and that means I can use any of my address. Oops, I have some ETH here. So this here is the DAO address. Then it asks me what the Stakehouse ticker is. What should we name it? Do you have any idea? Any ideas?
Yeah, Black Friday. So BFRD. Yeah.
Okay, Black Friday. This is the Stakehouse.
You can we have yeah? Can we have like divine?
What you want? Sorry.
Nothing. It's good.
Okay, fine. So this was it. And then it asked me whether I need commission or gatekeeping or not. So I don't want any. So I'll just move ahead. Console.log transaction. That's what it is all about. So all I want is fine. I've initialized the signer instance. I have initialized the wizard here. Then I am calling this function, and that's it. Okay, main is being called. And let's say what all did I need? I needed the Wizard SDK, and the others that I need is Ethers JS to initialize the signer instance. And let's also just check that I have the correct Wizard SDK. So I'll check it in the package.json here. LSD Wizard version 1.1, that's good. So fingers crossed, let's do it. Yep, there was a transaction. I got the hash. See it here.
You mean you have your liquid staking network deployed?
I mean, give it a few seconds. As soon as the transaction goes, yes, sir.
That's it?
Yep, and as easy as that.
And then now people can send the tokens ETH to your liquid staking, and a node operator can register with 4 ETH. Everything is good to go. You don't really have to do anything.
How do I see this? Can I go to a UI and see it? Like, can I see this? Like, can I select the network from to stake?
Yep, sure, you can. Okay. See, we've got our everything ready here, and this is the transaction. Okay.
Wait, go back.
Yep.
So, okay. It's not too expensive. Right. So then now, if we go to the, can you show on a UI how I can stake? Like give a sneak preview?
This is, yeah, we can give a sneak peek here. Right.
Oh, there's the UI. All right, cool. Okay.
Yeah. So this is the UI. Let's say.
Can I deploy a LSD network from the UI? No, right? Only deposit.
No, as of now, we are only allowing deposits, and yeah, you're getting a sneak peek, so you can't ask much. Okay, so we've got different sections as you said. So we had 3 pools: the protected staking, the fees and MEF, the node operator. You deposited ETH and all, and let's see if. Okay, I'll have to create.
I want to register as a node operator and just want to see how that's actually representing in the contract.
Fine. We'll use Wagyu for this.
Oh, I can use Wagyu?
Okay, yeah, sure.
Cool. I love it. Okay.
Okay.
Official tooling.
Change it to Gorley. Okay. Create. Oh, I have the secret key. Please, anyone, if you want to take it, just you can. I'm sure. Since this is just a test here, so I won't be using it for any purpose. Check and password. The only password I know. Okay. Right. Use advanced inputs.
What is this? What is this advanced inputs?
So by this, you can see it says Ethereum withdrawal address. So this address is the one that allows you to withdraw your 32 ethers once the Ethereum deposit contracts allow it. So if you put it wrong, if you mess it up, then you won't be able to get back 32 ethers correctly. So since we are using Stakehouse protocol underneath, then and the account manager of the Stakehouse protocol is the one that manages all of it. So that's what is the address that we'll be using here. Let's move on to.
Where can I find this address?
Exactly, that's what I was going to lead you to. Go on to github.com/stakehouse-dev and move to contract deployments. And in this, you will be able to get all the contract addresses that we use. So one for mainnet and the other for Goerli. So in Goerli, since I'm using it on Goerli, so I'll use the account manager address here, copy it, paste it here.
So just to be clear, the account manager is an LP reconciliation contract. It's not an address to a DAO. It's not an address to an EOA. It's not someone else's address. I don't need anyone's help when the withdrawal enable. I just call the smart contract, and the smart contract will just burn my derivative, and it will give the ETH that is received to them, just like Uni LP.
Right. When Vincent was introducing us about the Stakehouse protocol, so we know he talked about how the Stakehouse protocol is just a suite of smart contracts. So this address is the one that the Stakehouse protocol uses officially. So account manager.
What we're saying is this address is not belongs to anyone. It's just a reconciliation address that is smart contract. So if the user has an LP, then the contract will, always just burn it and give it to it. It's a reconciliation contract, nothing else. It's not a DAO. It's not a guild or whatever it is. No one has any authority over this, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, browse. I'll go to desktop. Okay. Oh, it is. It says I have it. Nice. So let's now try to deposit it. Okay. Choose file. It needs the deposit data file. I'll go to desktop. I'll get this deposit data file, and here I don't know if you can see, but public key starts at 9406. Okay, good to know stuff. Allows Stakehouse to track balance increases. Yes, Stakehouse is the underlying protocol. So all it needs is just to monitor the balance increase or decrease so that it can monitor your validator and show it to you. Nothing much. Okay, fine. Oh, looks like there are already some. Oh, see this BFRD, Black Friday. This is the Stakehouse that this is the LSD network that we just deployed. So I'll click on it. I'll say deposit. Ooh. Okay, 4 Querly ETH being sent to the contract interaction. So I mean, I trust this dApp because we've been working on it. So I'll just click on confirm, but I'd suggest you to verify this contract address whenever you're interacting with it, just to be careful. Right. Ooh, transaction succeeded. That means my node operator should have been registered. You've deposited your ETH. Check your validator's page in 30 minutes.
Can I see on Etherscan?
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right.
It has the value 4 ethers that we deposited.
So this is not at stake. This is sitting there because you're saying that you need 32 ETH, right, to trigger the deposit. If I change my mind, I can just withdraw it.
Right. You can.
Before staking,
Yeah, this is the 4 ethers sitting for the rest of the 28 to be pulled in. Meanwhile, until this transaction finishes, let's see if I have any activity here. Oh, see this? You have registered a new validator. This is the same address here, same transaction here. So you get to manage it.
So if I send another 28, would it actually stake?
Yes, sir. It should. It will.
Can we go back to the code?
You want to go back to the code? Okay. What do we want to look at next?
I mean, we could do it SDK, another event. I got to jump off. What about you guys? I want to learn more about it. Maybe go through the documentation and things like that next.
Yeah, I mean, we can do multiple sessions, can't we? We can do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool.